Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is episode 7, Big Block Barracuda Blitz. And in this video, we're going to be finishing up the line lock install, as well as all the brakes, including that custom brake pedal that I made, as well as install America's #1 shifter. So let's do this. Now, before we jump into the brakes and some of the fun stuff, I do want to point out a massive mistake on my part. If you remember the last video, before I was able to get this fired up, I flooded it, gas was flowing out, it was a huge mess, it hydrolocked, I was pissed. Why did that happen? Well, that was actually 100% my fault. This is the fuel gauge I was using. Naturally, I assumed, without reading, that the inner circle was PSI. It's actually kilogram per squared centimeter. PSI is the red on the outside. So yes, I pushed it up to like 20 pounds and just totally flooded it. Not making that mistake again. I swapped it out with a PSI only Russell unit. I'll be able to fine tune it a lot better and hopefully not ruin this expensive engine. If you're shaking your head on the other side of that screen right now, don't worry. I gave the mechanic a few words in the mirror myself too. All right, well, going back to the brakes. If you've been watching the series, you know that the fronts are already done. Don't have to worry about that. I don't know if you can see the other one. I'll take my word for it. Really, it's just the rear. And I've got to put the line lock in there as well. Oh, man, I'm too big for me to do the car. So, got to run some lines. Not a big deal. I've already started. So I'm going to swing over here. Got that portion of the rear line done. I like to throw that protector over the copper line or the copper nickel, just in case, you know, there's a rock or whatever. Got the hose already mounted. Just got to get the hard lines done for going to the front as well as the passenger side. Now, I'm not going to try to film me bending and doing all these small intricate things way too hard. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish it and show you what it looks like. And bam! I don't know why I make my own sound effects. It just feels right. Here's the line lock. Got it run through the old torsion bar support setup along with the battery cable all the way up to the distribution block, of course. This goes all the way down. You already saw that I had that hard line for that driver's side. Got the line going all the way up to a stainless braided hose. And then I've got, of course, going over the axle over to the other side. So brakes are effectively done. I still got to bleed them, which I will do. But I'll do that after. I guess that's actually time right now. Damn it. Now I've got to bleed the brakes, and I've got a trick to do that by myself. But before I can do that, I've got to finish that custom pedal. Now, I actually started working on this project about a month ago. I got tired of it, moved on to something else. I wanted to start the car. But here is the custom brake pedal. It is a lot longer of an arm than original because I had to raise everything up for this custom firewall. In doing so, I wanted to make sure I had the proper power or lever arm with this brake pedal to get to the 1200 PSI that the brake system is capable of. In fact, I got it calculated to where it should hit like 1150 with all the way going down to the floor if I wanted to stand on it like that. Now, the brake pedal ratio from factory is around like 6.6, maybe 6.5 to 1, given that this car came with manual brakes. Power brake setups are typically like 5 to 1 ratio, and I wanted a little bit more of a lever arm, so I went with a 7 to 1 ratio, a 7.0 to 1. And so you'll see I've got this nice long brake lever. I utilized the factory mount up there. I just raised everything a good like 2 inches, which meant I had to be really careful on where I drilled my hole for the master cylinder arm. That's all done and cut and measured. Everything's good to go there. I just got to pull this out, paint it, and then make the spacer on that pivot arm up there. So I'm going to do that right now. All right, so I've got the brake pedal removed. Here's the hole for the pin. I've got a couple pieces of pipe here This guy, unfortunately, the inside diameter is just not quite there. This is a pin for a motor mount that is also not going to work. So I went to the store to find something that this pin would fit in. This is the factory pin for the pedal, and I was able to find this piece here. So now I just got to do some measurements, make a few cuts, weld it onto the brake pedal. All right, here it is in place. Got it to fit. I had to scoot it all the way to the left so that I wouldn't hit that cut out in the firewall. I could probably move it over another 1/4 inch if I wanted to, but when I put that pad on there, that's also going to push it out a little bit. So I'm happy with that. That lines up with the bar a little bit. It's a little bit crooked right there, but when I put that attachment on, it'll bolt to the inner side of the brake pedal anyway, so I'm happy with it. Doesn't this just look so pretty? All right, time to get it in. Okay, it's been a day, but I have finally got this brake pedal installed. I've got it at the right distance that I want. It's pretty close to the gas pedals. It's just angled on a pivot here. That way I can heel toe pretty easily. And if you look up, it's all painted, clear. I've got the master cylinder connected now. I used a poly lock nut there with some correct spacers. That's it. Now I just got to bleed the brakes. And of course, I forgot brake fluid. So headed to the store. Now I'm using DOT +4, or not +4, .4. That way I can run it at a little bit higher temps because I am going to track this car and obviously we're going to race it. And as I am pouring this, I'm realizing that I only got one bottle. And if this system leaks, I might be screwed. Might be taking another trip to the parts store. Now, over the years, I've developed a method for bleeding brakes by myself that, for me at least, is quick and easy and doesn't require any special tools or special kits. I essentially just use this setup. So what I do is I take a water bottle, I stick that clear hose through it so that I can see what's going on. You can see if there's air bubbles, if the fluid's clean, if it's like a dirty system. This is all brand new, so it's not going to be dirty, but I pre-fill it with a little bit of fluid already, and I make sure the hose goes all the way down to the bottom. That way, when I'm releasing off the brake pedal to go check and see what I've got, the suction that happens, instead of sucking up air, it'll suck up fluid. So if you use a setup like this, you can bleed the brakes by yourself without chasing those frustrating bubbles. And after 5 hours, finally chased down all but one leak. Pretty much every fitting had to be tightened, so naturally I found out the hard way until it started dripping. But there's one drip that I can't fix, and unfortunately it's going to cause me to overnight a $150 part. And the part I am talking about is right there. You can see the drip from here. So that fitting is just not having it. I've got some petroleum-based Teflon tape. That's the second attempt I put that fitting on there. Regardless, it's still leaking. Cannot get that to seal. Looks like the threads are a little bit messed up on the unit, so I've done the exchange, but I can't wait that long because that'll be a week and a half. I had to overnight one. Yay. Now, if it actually gets here on time, I should have no problem putting that in, getting the car ready for Duct Tape Drags. Worst case scenario, if it's late, I'm just going to bring it with me. I'll install it inside the pits, have somebody else help me by pushing the brakes. I don't have to worry about the bottle method, and hopefully that'll solve it. But I think we've got good time. So for now, I'm just going to close this bad boy up. Worry about it later. Well, it's finally time for the shifter. All right, ignore the stylish footwear. I'm being lazy. I'm at the house. So let's see what we got here. And that's not coming out by itself. I'm assuming this is the cable. Yep, feels like it. Okay, sweet. We got the plate. I wonder if they have another sticker for that. Got a reverse manual valve body in here. This feels like it's the T-handle. Yes, it is. But I'm actually not going to use this. I've got something else I'm going to use. I'll show you a little later. The boot. All right. Oh, geez, this is a huge base for the unit. Oh, I'm not worried about it covering the hole I made for the 6-speed at all. Dun, 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 dun. Sweet. Now I just got to get the decal, slap it on the back, right? That'll fit the race Barracuda theme. Got a couple more things in here. Okay, some bracketry. Oh, that's for the shifting lever. Let's see, we've got a few different options. That's nice. Have to mock that up. Oh, good. Some good old-fashioned instructions. Throw one of these stickers in the window. And there we go. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, of course it's not reverse manual valve body, but it's all right. Fine hardware. Sounds like we got everything. All right, let's get this bad boy in. All right, first thing I'm going to do is take those instructions and just yeet them across the garage because I'm always up for a challenge. Probably going to grab those in like 5 minutes, but let's throw the shifter on there. Now, obviously, I've got the custom tunnel, so this is not going to be super duper easy. And at least, does it jump over the big hole? If I scoot it forward, it does. All right, I just bent the bracket. Screw it. It's just this one that you can't bend, so I bent these two holes, the hole up top here, which I'm realizing now I can go a little bit more on, so that's cool. This will work at least. Let's see, did that actually mark it? Yes, it did. Money. Oh, that one's not right. All right, and the hardware fits. So now I'm gonna pull it off, and I'm actually gonna seal that hole. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm gonna drill the hole for the cable, and then I'm gonna seal this hole, as well as the hole for the cable. And I'll show you how I'm gonna do that. All right, my cheat code for sealing this up is some sound deadening material. Basically like black tar and aluminum foil, and this ought to do a really good job actually. Let's see. Of course, I think that's centered. Perfect. All right, so now that this is sealed, I've got the holes punched out. We can get this thing bolted up and in there. When you're looking at the cable, you would think this is the side that you would just take this little clip off and then slide it through the hole. Nope, this does not want to come off. You actually have to disassemble the other side, take those nuts off, pull the bushing covers, and then feed it that way. Not sure why that is, but that's what I discovered. All right, I was able to get the cable in, as you can see, because I don't have it like completely routed and mounted on the transmission yet. I just have it slid into that direction. Make sure it slides down towards the driver's side. Now I get to just manually rotate this, and of course it's not easy. Sweet. I'll put a wrench on this guy and tighten the rest of these guys. Okay, you saw the shifter mounted inside. going underneath the car here, you'll see I've got this bracket installed on the cable already. I would suggest you put it in this same order. So, I mean, they make it for this, but put the bracket on the cable before you mount it on the trans. The cable's not that flexible, doesn't have a lot of give. So if you do this first, it'll be a little bit easier to get it in place. The rest of the cable, because it's kind of long, I just kind of pushed it up on top of the transmission. It's going to be pretty close to this coolant line, but I'm going to run it right underneath it. And so yeah, if I could show it to you right here, do it this way, easiest way to get it installed. And then when you've got it mounted to the trans, it looks like this. Now I definitely had to modify this. This did not just bolt in. You see the area by the transmission pan bolts. I actually had to grind off that as it was too thick between the hole in the bracket and the portion of the pan that comes down. So I ground that off a little bit. And then I also had to bend the lever arm, as you can see it. It does not interfere with the transmission because that actually swings out away from that hump right there, so that I could get the right angle on the rod because my coolant line was in the way. But apart from that, works good. All right, now that it's all hooked up, go ahead and show you. Vertical is in park. In order to go in reverse, pull on the lever, push it down, it's in reverse. In order to go down the drive gears, I can just pull back, go straight into first gear. It actually skips neutral. I'll show you. Ratchet second, ratchet third, no more ratchet, that's it. But I can go forward into neutral, second, first, neutral, if I ever wanted to roll it around. Now, in order to go out of neutral into reverse and park, I can't go from here. I actually have to go back to first, pull the lever, and I can go all the way up. So that's the shifter. Now, in reality, about 7 days have surpassed between the clip where I showed you underneath the car and it being installed and right now. And that's because I was on a mad dash to get this car ready for Duct Tape Drags. Ultimately missing it. That's 0 for 2 this year for races. Missed Bow Party and I missed Duct Tape. I was just struggling to get the brake system configured. In fact, I didn't sleep for like 48 hours pushing on the car. Did a ton of work, which I'll recap a little bit in the next video, but I couldn't get the brake system to get squared away. And in a Hail Mary attempt, I took it to a local shop that was going to do the alignment, asked if they could take a look at the brake setup for me. While they were able to bleed them after a while, there's still some fittings that are leaking, so I'm going to have to address those. In the next video, though, since I did so much extra work to the small things, we're going to be installing the MagnaFlow exhaust system that I pieced together with some AutoZone pipe parts. Only have about 350 bucks into it, which was a quarter of the price that I was quoted by some local shops here. And then we're going to be able to start it and see what it'll sound like with that shorty glass plaque MagnaFlow setup. And apart from that, all I've got left is the cage and the interior. And then this car will be done cruising around the street. I've started it a couple times since that first fire up. I was able to tune it a little bit, even though it was straight headers. Even had 3 of the neighbors come outside and check out what was going on. But the engine's pretty squared away. My next update, or my next deadline, so to speak, is arguably the most important in my entire automotive YouTube career. In fact, my personal life career regarding cars. And that is, I'm taking this car up to Washington State to go reveal it to my grandfather and take him for the first ride since its resurrection. That's going to be during the Thanksgiving break, so to speak. So I've got about a month now to get the exhaust on, the cage done, the interior in, so that I can give my grandpa a ride. And as always, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. It's the best way to support the channel. I appreciate every one of you watching, and I look forward to giving you the next update as we get closer to getting this beast back on the road.